Good afternoon. We have a special...
Attention campers, it's time for Camp Kidney Cast.
Good morning, campers of Camp Kidney. It is another episode of the Camp Kidney Cast, and today on our itinerary, we have swimming, marshmallow eating, and of course, another episode of our show that we usually do every other week, Camp Laszlo.
Woohoo! We're back at it again, everybody. Welcome back to Camp Kidney Cast.
It's really nice to be back. How have y'all been? It's been kind of a hectic couple of weeks, but I think we're finally able to get a grasp over things again.
Yeah, I'm just feeling very positive. I don't know, like I'm feeling a lot like Laszlo, to be honest.
Yeah,
just really
I feel
start and everything.
I love that happy little monkey, and I also love the show.
Yeah, me too. I think that, times have been really tough for people lately, and we need someone to really lift our spirits, and there's no one better than our dear, cherished friend Laszlo, who we've spent, how long have we been doing Camp Kidney Cast? Like a year and a half, maybe?
Almost a year now.
A year and a half, and we've been through it all. I mean, we've been through Meat Man, we've been through like, remember the episode with the Sea Lamprey? That was a really fun one.
Yeah,
that was all the way back, the first episode. Like, jeez.
No, Renee, it wasn't the first episode. You keep misremembering it.
It was the first episode. It was the first episode that we did. The Lamprey
come on, keep it up.
I'm sorry, but that's just not true.
You're acting like such a chip and skip right now.
Yeah, and what even is that thing on the bottom of 02? Like a cactus or something? It
is the center of his power.
What does it?
Everything that he is.
What does it do though? Does it why is that his? Why that? Why is cactus? Why green?
Well, I think it's got to be something organic, it's a sort of contrast to this sort of inorganic, angelic looking thing from beyond the stars. There's something to that, right?
He's regrowing. It's Zero's rebirth. So there's a part of it that's kind of awkward, a little just he's trying to make something,
Maybe it's like a symbol. It's like he's the seed. He's like a seed for a new Zero.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. See, this is why Kirby 64 is the best video game of all time.
Sorry, I just had a really big throb in my head. Just a throbbing. Anyway, don't put this in the podcast, Lucy. I just Okay, Camp Kidney Cast. Yeah!
Welcome back. And we got a really fun set of episodes here. First, we're going to be talking about Mascot Madness, which is a fun one. I really love when it's just kind of a just down-to-earth, regular-ass episode of Camp Laszlo. Just we're at the camp, we get to see everybody acting all fun and silly, and, it's just a good time.
I especially like it when we get to focus on some of the other characters. This time around, we get to focus on Edward. This is a pretty Edward-centric episode.
I adore Edward. He is such a weird character, and I know I've said this tons of times on the podcast before, but he's excitable, yet sarcastic. He's kind of gloomy. He's kind of a loser, but he's also kind of a bully.
Yeah, he's kind of a hard nut to crack, because you don't really know what he's gonna do, and I love that about him.
In the beginning, you get a sense that he's kind of privileged with his using his parents' credit card to buy all the go-kart parts for the go-kart episode.
Yeah.
But in this episode, you get the sense that he really just wants to be adored and to have that attention. Maybe attention he hasn't gotten as a privileged child, or what, or who knows.
I love that we're getting to our roots, and it's been a while since there's been like an Edward episode for us to talk about, and we haven't like theory crafted about Edward like we always do. Like, it's been a while since we've been able to get into that, and I'm really happy that this episode allows us to do that.
Yeah, so there's not too much of our typical faves, here. We don't really get to see too much of Scoutmaster Lumpus and his boyfriend, but, they're there, so that's cool. We just get a little sprinkle of them.
It's really... we just kind of get to hear Slinkman.
Yeah, that's right. We see him, like, once.
Let's start from the beginning, shall we?
Yeah,
of course.
We start with a slow day at Camp Kidney. There's not much to do in this camp. Edward's just whittling around. Everyone else is kind of blasé, like, But of course, our favorite orange monkey from Cartoon Network, Laszlo, he loves to he just has fun, like, no matter what. He's a character that I've said, like, time and time again, that he is, like, the character of, like, blisteringly optimistic done right. And that's exemplified here with him. Like, he's playing bus driver. He's trying to get everybody's spirits going. Nobody's into it. Edward's even like, can't he just suffer like the rest of us?
Why can't he be bored and spiritless like us? Is what he says. After like
so
choking
annoying.
Samson.
Yeah, he like whittles a piece of wood into Samson's throat. Also, Samson. What a silly little guy. He's always getting sick and getting hurt, and like, I mean, I don't enjoy seeing it, but I mean, they make it
funny.
It's a little funny.
Laszlo wants to find the camp spirit. They don't have camp spirit, so he runs off to Scoutmaster Lumpus to find something to do, I suppose.
Which is, I mean, I always thought it was funny how uninvolved and uninterested Scoutmaster Lumpus is with just anything.
Oh yeah, he like
He's
really doesn't
very
want to
much
be
so
there.
in this episode.
He absolutely just doesn't want to be there, and like, he doesn't even know a lot of the like campers' names, and Laszlo is just so positive. He's just so positive, and he's like, "Oh, Scoutmaster Lumpus, I have an idea."
So he goes to Scoutmaster Lumpus's office, and he's just sitting there. His eyes are kind of going in like different directions. just not there. And Laszlo is of course just trying to get his attention when the filing cabinet to the side of the desk kind of pops open, and Lumpus is actually up there sleeping in the shelves. A bunch of pictures
that's
fall
so
out.
classic Lumpus.
Just taking a nap, and he's like, the fake Lumpus in the desk is just like a balloon or something.
But as Lumpus exits the filing cabinet, a bunch of like pictures is strewn about, and Laszlo kind of like picking them up is like, "Whoa, what are these guys?" And he's like showing some pictures of like the fancy duck guy, the random like mascot characters, and it's like, "Oh, those are mascot characters or whatever." They're guys who like dress up, compete with other mascot. I don't know.
Lumpus is just like, "Oh, those freaks."
Yeah, and I love Laszlo's like, "What's a mascot?" Like he doesn't know. So innocent, sweet boy, sweet little boy.
God, this summer just feels endless. Like,
oh yeah,
I just feel like all of Camp Laszlo takes place in one summer, right? And God, how far in this are we?
We're a good ways in now. So this show went on for a while too. It was pretty popular. It was pretty much like the only cartoon on Cartoon Network that like featured a large cast of animals that was like watchable.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really wish there were other shows like that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Just there's like this pain in like my chest. I'm just saying Tom Nook is not a crook.
I
don't
know
why everybody is so mean to him.
People are like so stuck in this mindset of like Tom Nook being like, he's such a big bad like landlord, and it's like he's not like a landlord in reality at all, right? Like he's super nice. He gives you all this time to like pay your bills. I don't think he's a capitalist. He's if anything a wealthy person who's decided to be a socialist, and that's like what I believe.
He is a gay father.
He's a gay father. He's a socialist. Vote for it.
Sorry, no, I'll cut this out. I'll cut this out later. I'll cut this out later. I promise.
Yeah,
Let's get back to the monkey
Wait.
show. You know, the Camp Laszlo monkey show that we all know.
Yes.
And
So
love.
Laszlo is inspired by these pictures of old mascots, and he's like, "Oh, I think this would be a cool idea. I want to be the new mascot. Let me be it." And as if sensing Laszlo's joy, Edward rushes in to like squash it. And he's like, "No, I want to be the mascot." And Lumpus is very just like, "Oh no, both of you want to be the mascot, and you're both so worthy. Oh, geez, I guess you should hold a competition."
Just to get them out of there. Like, there's not really anything in this for him. He doesn't care.
Laszlo even suggests that Scoutmaster Lumpus should be the judge, but interestingly enough, Lumpus, of course, is like, "Well, me? No. You'll be the judge."
That seems kind of, like, one-sided, though. Like, Laszlo was the one who was interested in being a mascot and, like, having, like, a mascot. And
doing the whole costume shtick.
yeah,
and it's funny that like he's made like the judge this episode, like not the mascot like you would think. So it's an interesting dynamic here where like Edward is just the main guy who really wants to be the mascot here, which is funny because you wouldn't think that about him.
No, because I mean earlier he was completely spiritless. He had no camp spirit. I think, like you were saying earlier, the only reason Edward wants to be the mascot is because he craves that like attention and validation that he doesn't get from, I guess, his home life, perhaps.
And also, any sort of thing that Laszlo finds, I guess, interesting or motivating, Edward kind of like comes in and takes that as if to say, "I want that motivation. I need to be like the monkey. I need to have what he has."
So now we are at the competition. Well, Laszlo does a little bit here where he like wears a little powdered wig and he's like got judge robes on and
I'm the judge.
and then one of the campers brings him like water.
Yeah, one
of the lemmings.
Yeah, one of the lemmings. I always love it, and I know y'all are probably tired of hearing me talk about it. I like how there are so many twins and just like a group, like the lemmings, how there's just like 4 brothers and they're just all like, that's like the cast of characters.
Then you have Chip and Skip and Dave and Ping Pong.
Yeah.
They're all like pairs of the same animal.
It's just always been funny to me, and it's strange sometimes, like, when we leave that sort of realm of who we're used to seeing, and we sometimes see, like, other campers that aren't really, like, normally there. I just felt like bringing that up. Anyway.
Anyway, the lemming gives him water, and he's like, "Oh, thank you. I judge this water to be excellent." He's like, "Oh, brother." always love interactions with the background campers. But anyway, the judging begins, and we have a bunch of, like, interesting mascots. We got, as Dave and Ping Pong, as the living clothesline.
They've got a little, like, string tied around like each of their necks, and they just like stand apart from each other, and they got
They're like, we got clothes! We got the cleanest clothes!
it's so good. And the Samson is wearing a little penguin outfit. He looks so dapper.
Boom shakalaka
He's
like
the
a boom
peppy
shak-
penguin.
I distinctly remember this moment. Like, I remember saying it a lot. Maybe it's because it was that one thing that they showed for Cartoon Fridays.
Boom shakalaka like a boom.
Boom shakalaka. They showed that, and it was just so funny. Oh, it's so funny.
Another camper, like, as he's like boom shakalakaling, gives him like a can of soda so that like he can like sort of fizz it out at the end. It's funny.
Chip and Skip. Oh my god, Chip and Skip. You know, I really do enjoy like dumb characters, like a kind of, you know, Ed from fucking
Ed and Eddie.
Eddie. You know, like just so dumb, but lovable, like, you know, likable characters. You know, you got your Patrick Star, you got your Ed, and then you got your Chip and Skip.
You got your
They're all in
dung
the
beetles.
same. Yeah, they're dung beetles, which I didn't like understand as a kid. I don't think.
I don't think I did too. They're kind of a Gonzo situation, aren't they?
They are a Gonzo situation.
They're not really anything, but they just call them dung beetles.
Yeah.
It's that classic Joe Murray stylization, which we've come to enjoy here. They're like trying out their mascot costume, but they look regular. They're standing very far away. Laszlo puts on his hands as binoculars, and he sees they got like a little pinky puppet of Scoutmaster Lumpus, their tribute to Lumpus.
And, you know, Laszlo's just like, you're gonna have to make it bigger, and
It's way too small.
it's way too small, and because it's like on their pinky fingers, the
No,
littlest...
it's on his like thumb, isn't it?
No, it's on his pinky.
No. Chip even says, I told you should have used your index finger, not your pinky finger. But now we got this drama kid over here.
Oh my god.
Fucking...
He is the most drama kid, Edward.
He
He's
really is.
he's the Duke of Lice.
The Duke of Lice!
I'm the Duke of the
Lice!
Lice.
Duke of the Lice! And he's just, you know, the crowd is not really seeing
Not into it.
Like,
No,
this
they're-
is just clearly a character that Edward has had in his mind for a very long time. And
He's
this is, like, the one way that he's found that he might be able to kind of express that character, to kind of, like, bring that character to life.
right.
It's
He's
just-
he's like dressed up like a lice. Like he's got like a bug costume on, and he's got like a crown on his head, and he's giving it his like 100%. Like I hardly ever see Edward give this much effort into things.
He's got a big like wig prop with like a little comb in it that he jumps out of. He puts his all into it. It's like it's got to be commended. You don't see these props like from the other campers, maybe because they don't really have the money for these props.
Edward has just so much privilege in his life that he can build a custom-made lice costume and have a crown.
Right, and he sees the like kind of what he's not expecting from the crowd. He wants them to be cheering and calling his name, but they're just very like, what is going on, Duke of Lice? And so he goes, oh, my finale, I forgot. And he pulls out a cannon and he goes, the lice cannon, and shoots out like a cloud of lice at the camper.
You just hear like this like buzzing noise.
It's so funny.
I love jokes like this where it's just like it's kind of
Some kind of device that's like just so ridiculous, like this, like, oh yeah, a cannon that shoots lice, and it's like so like painful, or like just, oh my
it's just
god,
like a horrible machine that shouldn't exist, and it just does a specific thing, like shoot lice at everybody.
But that's not the only competitors we have. No. How can we have an episode of Camp Lazlo without our two favorite boys? Raj and Clam.
There they are.
There they are.
And
oh my god. Mwah.
I gotta be honest, I don't know about this bit.
Yes, okay, so their costume is that they are jumping beans. Mexican jumping beans.
Mexican jumping beans. That
They put a tortilla on a record player.
it's so like I understand, like I feel like a lot of this would be forgivable if they weren't going, you know, doing the whole Speedy Gonzalez kind of thing.
Arriba.
Jumping around.
They do some bullfighting. They're dressed up like luchadors. They like pull out a guitar to be like mariachi, I guess. I don't know. But the crowd loves it. All the other campers just love it.
It's a classic moment. That
where Jelly Cabin has gotta like upstage the rest, and they know like going wild, they know having fun, so everyone's cheering. Even Edward in like the long like background shot, which I thought was like, you know, maybe like a funny error.
Really?
Where he's just like cheering in the crowd amongst the other
I didn't
people.
notice that.
Even though like a second before he was like, "What the?
What the?"
But you know, he's a good sport about it. He goes to congratulate them on their like, you know, win for being camp mascot. They're a shoo-in, of course. But so he invites them to party, you know, a celebratory party
in the marshmallow shack.
I always found this idea of there being just a dedicated building for marshmallows to be kind
gated.
Yeah, it's like gated. There's barbed wire around it. It's like these things are very special.
It's the valuable gem of any camp. It's iconic.
Yeah, marshmallows. We've been over this.
There's just something so comforting about it, about this building that's filled with marshmallows, and I can't quite explain why.
It's kind of like a childlike wonder, you know. It's something that if you were in camp, like as a kid, and like somebody told you that a building like that existed, you would believe it, like a little bit.
You would, like you would believe it, and it would just be something to just like, it'll always be on your mind, like.
And you'd imagine like, oh, like what if we heisted the marshmallows, and like, oh, that'd be so cool, and like getting all the marshmallows for all the other campers. But you know, Raj is a little suspicious of this. Well, not really. He's just like, oh, this is funny, you know. I thought like the Marshmallow Shack was like, you know, disallowed anybody entry, you know. But they walk in. I guess the gates are open for that. And they're like, well, we're here to party in the Dark Lodge. But then, oh no, it was a setup. Edwards caught them red-handed in the marshmallow.
He's like laughing, and in his hands he has a piece of paper and a pencil. And they're just like, what are you doing, Edward? Wasn't there supposed to be a party? And he's just like, you know, you're not supposed to be in here.
And he's drawing a picture of them in the, like as if he was taking a picture of them, like caught in the act. He draws a picture of them and then like shows it to them. He's like, we wouldn't want like Scoutmaster Lumpus to see this, and they like all gasp. Like, no.
He's got a drawing.
It's so funny.
You see, this is a really good joke, just because, like, you know, they treat it as, like, a big threat. Like, you know, they don't have to tell us or anything that it's, like, something that's, like, oh, no, this is ridiculous. How could a drawing... No, it's just, it's plain to see. It's a funny joke, and it's not, like...
You know, every single time Snap says, Rudy, you gotta draw something, I feel like every time it just gets more powerful and more meaningful. And by the end of the series, he's just like, Rudy, You gotta. It's your duty. He's kind of like Rudy to Booty is kind of like a Steven Universe where he's had his like destiny kind of forced upon him. Like he didn't choose to pick up that magic chalk. It just happened to him. Like he just happened and he created chalk, like half the shit in Chalk Zone. He comes to it and he's faced with his creations, his decisions. You know, every time he just mindlessly doodled something, it turned into like a real person.
Can I be honest? I really don't know what you're talking about. I didn't watch whatever show you're talking about. I don't even know why I'm here.
Gert, why are you even on this show?
You asked,
Look,
we've done. Listen, nobody listens to this podcast. I didn't want to tell y'all that, but nobody listens to it. You all only have 5 subscribers. I just wanted to come on and I don't know. I wanted to support my friends. You asked me to be on, so I was just like, sure, okay. I'm sorry.
We've done 20 episodes. What, 20 episodes of the Chalk Zone podcast now, and now
20 episodes, Gert.
You're gonna be like this in the middle of a recording? Jeez.
I'm sorry. I just you asked me.
You're being such a scroll right now. I can't. I can't with you. I'm sorry. I don't know what train of thought I was getting on. It's a funny joke. That's it.
Yeah, it's a great joke.
It's really funny.
Edward has some demands. He wants the Duke of Lice to be the new mascot. He's basically blackmailing Laszlo. He's like, if you don't make me the mascot, then I will show Scoutmaster Lumpus this. So the next day, Edward is crowned the mascot, and everyone's kind of confused. And
nobody really understands.
Laszlo puts a little sign on the speaker post, and Scoutmaster Lumpus walks out, and he looks at it, and he's like, "Who's Edward?"
Who the heck is Edward?
I love this reoccurring joke of just Scoutmaster Lumpus not knowing anything about Edward whatsoever.
So now
he's so excited. Edward is lording it over everybody. I'm the Duke of Lice.
Everybody,
me, of course.
What's my next duty, sir?
You're gonna go compete with the other mascots in Madison Squirrel Garden, which I thought was a funny name. It's in the Scouts camp. So they're gonna be competing there. You know, it's funny. You would think this episode would be more about Laszlo and Edward competing, and it would just be a drawn out thing like that or something, and then it would just end too soon or something. But no, we're taken to a new location. We're in the Squirrel Scouts camp, where there's a big arena where everyone's waiting and expecting something fun to happen.
Scoutmaster Lumpus is in this Roman what do you call him?
Emperor's garb.
Yeah, emperor garb, a toga. Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting fanned.
Getting fanned and fed grapes.
By Slinkman.
Which, come on.
Oh. And Edward, he loves the attention, but who's his mascot opponent?
Oh, God.
None other than the infamous Miss Mucus.
It's just Miss Mucus. That she is not a character. It is her in battle armor, and she is there to kill Edward.
Yeah, what is the point of this competition? Are they just fighting?
It's just a battle. It's a fucking.
It's a blood sport.
Everybody's just fucking in the high tall rafters watching their game of snitch.
Snitch.
It's not what they call the game, it's not Harry Potter.
It's not Harry Potter, and that's not what they call the game in Harry Potter.
They call it snitch.
It's not true. No, that's the name of one of the stupid balls.
That's what Ron always say. He say, Harry, you're the best snitch I know. You're best snitcher in the whole of Hogwarts.
Laszlo is worried. He wants to protect Edward because, he's kind of a good-natured guy, but he's kind of like, well, I really don't know if we should. Let's make a list of pros and cons. So they make the list. Meanwhile, like, Edward's getting the shit beat out of him.
He's like
and
tied
like,
to
all right.
a pole and like getting slammed around.
And Laszlo's like, okay, here's our list of pros.
He's a Bean Scout.
Is that it?
That's it. But this is enough to inspire them. Like, if they're all Bean Scouts, if they're all like wanting to get that Camp Kidney spirit, then this is the way to do it. It's like, like the Bean Scouts got to stick up for each other. So
there's solidarity in being a Bean Scout.
So in like one of the most inspiring, there's a lot of inspiring moments in this show, but this one's like a really, really fun sequence that I enjoy. It seems like it's the end for the Duke of Lice, but Laszlo, Raj, and Clam, they all dress up together as the Mexican jumping beans. Laszlo gets his costume too, which I'm glad. I'm glad he's not left out of the mascot fun.
Of course.
Because it's got to be the three amigos.
Yeah, the three caballeros.
Oh, the three caballeros.
The three caballeros.
Ow.
Huh?
Sorry, just my head.
What? You have a bad memory or something?
I don't know. That just.
What is
Where
the
were we?
three caballeros?
So Goku's dead. Gohan's like left alone to fend for himself, and Piccolo's here to like train him. If I'm being honest, let me say something controversial. I don't think he's a good dad, Piccolo.
No, he throws Gohan at a mountain.
Well, he is kind of like, at this point, we don't know he's an alien. We're just like, oh, so I guess the demon's taking care of Gohan now, because that's what they think he is. They think he's a fucking demon or something. And he's just like there, like, like, literally, after he kills Raditz, he's just with the fucking special beam cannon. He's just like, I get to take out both of my enemies, Goku and this guy I just met. So it's
like Piccolo sees somebody and he immediately clocks them as an enemy no matter what
and
happens.
like also just like the idea of like he doesn't have a single enemy on the planet except Goku, so it's like the number only went up when a guy from space that looks like Goku showed up.
But I don't think that like him just like training Gohan brutally like this makes him a good dad. He gets better, as we'll see in the coming episodes.
So yeah, I just don't really understand why Majin Buu has parasites living in him.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this podcast for a while now. Like, what is this? Our like 124th episode or something?
More than that,
But
ooh.
like, yeah, they go inside Majin Buu. Well, they go inside Super Buu.
Yeah.
They go inside Gohan, Piccolo, Gotenks, Buu, and like there's just like worms in there.
They're worms, and Vegeta's afraid of them.
But it's a really awe-inspiring scene.
Yes, everyone's out there. We've got clotheslines, squirrel scouts are watching in horror as Mucus is getting beat up.
This Mucus is
The
just...
Peppy Penguin is sliding on his belly. He misses though, and then crashes into the door and runs away quickly as a giant, monstrous Scoutmaster Lumpus mascot head breaks through the door, spitting fire out of its nose, and Scoutmaster Lumpus is like, "Oh, that thing is ugly."
Mr. Lumpus.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Mister.
So here in the Beastars podcast, we all like to get into our theory crafting, our lore for this animal world, because that's what we do. We just like love to see how like the biological animal facts like coincide with like societal like upbringing and stuff. And so here, let's talk about the dinosaurs and like what they mean
Oh,
to.
brother,
God,
the dinosaurs.
So they have like a whole big festival for them, and why is that?
Well, it's kind of like how we think of them, like dinosaurs as these like big, like cool things that were like the progenitors of like things, even though they weren't the first one. To ask me, people should be treating the Cambrian era, Anomalocaris,
Yeah.
as like the real progenitors. But dinosaurs, they're big, they're like awesome. Tyrannosaurus Rex, king of the terrible lizards.
I would love to see you got me like thinking about it, like a picture of Anomalocaris, but like, kind of like at the Last Supper, like the head of the
Like
table, like Jesus Christ, but it's Anomalocaris, and like all the other like disciples of Anomalocaris are like other ancient Precambrian like life. So we got like fucking Opabima over there, just like, I'm going to fucking kill him.
The thing is, I can really see that as being like an actual painting in this show. I can really see it.
It's like a giant that I'm going to be the only super predator on the planet.
That was a weird.
That was a
thing
weird.
to
We
call
never.
him.
How would we call him Mister? Yeah, so like, fucking Xana in this episode comes out of like. I think this is the first episode where we've seen this, Renee, where like Xana like manifests as like a ghost.
Yeah,
Scary
right?
ghost, and possesses somebody, and like
It's really scary.
it's like really scary because it's like, I thought it was just a computer, but why does this computer have so much control over the world? Why don't they just destroy it?
What I want to know is how it manifests at all as this like black fog and like ghostly mist, because it is just like code. It's an AI, but somehow like you get like in the other episodes that like Xana can like control like the nuclear like power plant or whatever, but just being a ghostly apparition, it's like, all right, what's really going on here? Is this a nanobot situation? What is going on?
So yeah, like, I think tarantulas are kind of a little handsome. Like, I really like
All
the way
right.
that they look.
All right. Who's a little like water and oil? It's us, your favorite Brandy and Mr. Whiskers podcast. We're back at you again. I know we took that 5-month hiatus. Listen, things got a little crazy, but we're back and we're here to talk about our favorite duo. Now, I'm here with a question for both of you.
Yeah, what is it?
Mr. Whiskers, is he a little sexy? Discuss.
I absolutely cannot agree with you.
Disagree.
I'm
sorry.
I disagree with it just wholeheartedly. Unless you like, oh, if you did that, whose voice is that? I hate that. I hate. No, not sexy.
That's Charlie Adler. I'll have you know, Gert, who is a well-respected voice actor in the profession.
It doesn't make him. Ain't make me lusting over that no rabbit none.
And really, truly, aren't we so lucky that he's a family guy?
Hey everybody, that concludes another episode of the Squirrel Boy podcast, where we talk about episodes of Squirrel Boy. This is our 150th episode, where we've gone over episode 20 again. We just go out of order this time around. It doesn't matter. I miss my friends. Where did everything go? Why am I doing this Squirrel Boy podcast? Well, sorry. Whatever. I'll just leave that in the video. Anyway, this is the Squirrel Boy podcast. I'm Renee. And this has been the Squirrel Boy podcast. But this is like the climax of the thing. Like, you know, even Chip and Skip, they've got like this like big thing. It's built up to this like they open up the Scoutmaster's lump their mouth. They're in there, and it's like
they shoot off another lice cannon. This mucus.
Lice cannon.
And they've
the
done
music
it.
is like swelling up, and they done it. They beat Miss Mucus, who was like just earlier beating up a child. She has lice now.
Yeah.
The
That's what you
Squirrel
get.
Scouts are sad.
They're so sad. They lost the They lost the competition.
The mascot blood sport. All the Bean Scouts, they're getting together, and it's like,
Miss
wow,
Mucus
you
kill
know,
all the
Edward-
other mascots?
That's a good question. Is that why there weren't any more? Because they would die every year?
They were only seen in those black and white photos.
Oh, God.
So it makes you wonder.
Miss Mucus
Scoutmaster Lumpus congratulates Edward and is like, okay, yeah, maybe, you know, next week when we face against Camp Piranha or whatever, I won't bet against you. Good luck. And Edward is not even phased. He's just in this delusional headspace that he is the mascot and the one who will do this for the camp.
And he's so cool.
Every all the other Bean Scouts were like, you know, congratulating him, and it's like, you brought us together because you gave us Camp Kidney back its spirit. And he's like, I did.
God,
I am the mascot. I guess that's what it's all about.
I'll never get over the positivity of this show. Like, it's just so positive.
So positive and nice, and like, you know, it doesn't sacrifice good like physical comedy or like good like painful comedy for like, you know, lack of positivity. There's a sense that like, you know, that positivity does win out. That you know, it doesn't have to be cynical. It doesn't have to be some sad monkey show or what am I?
Where are we? Who am I?
Huh?
Why do I feel like this is wrong? This isn't wrong, right?
No, it's right.
We're happy
We're
here.
Well, I'm happy.
I don't want to go back. I can't go back.
Welcome to
Brony
Gert's
fandom was
Tech
just
Tips.
like
Goshi
so
is
ridiculous
gender
that I don't
fluid.
understand.
I'm
They just
trying to
go
tell
way
you
too
this.
far.
Look, I
But
understand
think
that like
Harry
he's
is Harry.
it's
Because
like
Care Bears
made to be a
are
joke,
real.
but it's
What
not a joke to
matters
me.
in the
I think
world
that he really does have
It's so
something.
precious to me.
I'm just
So,
really like
so
the
very
Invisible
precious.
Man. I think like, you know, he's really
Fucking Leon
attractive.
Scott Kennedy
Kind
is
of-
running
I know.
for
Look,
the
I know he's
title
invisible,
of man.
but like there's something to him. You know, maybe
I'm a
like a voice
cicada.
or something.
I'm a
I don't know.
cicada.
Gremlins
I know that's
2
actually a
is
lie,
the greatest
but
piece of
nobody is
media
talking
of
about it except
any
for me.
generation. It is a
Always.
voice
Why aren't we
Steven
playing
Universe
Marvel?
ran
life
for
itself.
7 years.
I
For
love
our savagery, for our
there's no way
humanity.
Mario
It's
Galaxy
Gremlins 2 is everything. Look,
I
I'm
just
just
don't
gonna say
think
it
that Ellen
outright.
Page
I
should
don't
be the
think
mascot.
Gwen
I
Stacy was
think
an
it's a little
important
ridiculous
character at
that
all.
the other
Hello,
characters
welcome to
are
the
family
podcast where we
members.
review everything besides
Which is fine for a
Undertale.
mascot. I'm not
Video
sure why
games,
I'm
movies,
categorizing
anything
all
besides
these
Undertale. As long as
to
it's
the
not
blood
Undertale.
of
We don't hate
and
Undertale. We're
I've
just
been doing
doing
this for
everything
7
that's not
years, and I will
Undertale.
continue
And this
to.
week we
So that was a really exciting episode of My Gym Partner's a Monkey, don't y'all think?
Yeah, I really liked that episode.
What was it again? I don't.
Whatever.
I mean, it was there. It was probably
Yeah, let's.
It was probably like
Well,
a Thanksgiving special or something.
I don't know.
Well,
Let's read some comments,
yeah,
huh?
well, we got a piece of fan art too.
Yeah.
Let's get to that. Hey, Gert, why don't you talk about our fan art?
Yeah, I will. This fan art was sent in by Chairman Nam, and this fan art is kind of it's a collection of spore creatures. Some of them are unique, and some of them are our spawn.
Our Jake Spider Monkey spore creatures. Oh man, Jake Spider Monkey.
SC
The principal pixie frog spawn. there. They're sleeping.
There's a Slips holding a trans flag, very cute. SCP-J413, the ass god. And very, very scary. I love it though. And
then we got Professor Drago, who is an OC that we've seen here before, who seems to be having some relationship issues or struggling to connect to Principal Pixie Frog, and then the is that the alien?
Yeah, that's the alien.
That's the alien.
That's like it's an alien OC that Chairman Nom's made.
That's amazing. I love that.
Nami's first spore. His name is Watt.
I like
I
Watt.
feel like
this is a great sport creature.
that sounds. I made a Velociraptor looking thing too when I was younger. I feel like a lot of people did. It was just a very good. If you were a dinosaur lover at the time, when Spore came out, it was kind of like irresistible to make something that was like lizard-like. At least in my experience. Very cute though.
Spore was just such a great outlet for, like, you know, making some funny creatures that I've seen. Chairman Nom here has made some really nice creatures, like some Spore creatures, and like we're glad we could like bring that out again. And people, share your Spore creatures with us.
Yeah, I love Spore.
You know,
maybe we'll do another Spore stream. Well, let's talk about some of our comments.
Yeah.
This is from Kaiju Kid 96. Just wanted to say that I'm finally caught up with the podcast. I started listening in late January because of a friend, and I absolutely adore it. Easily the best and funniest podcast I've ever listened to. As someone who sort of likes My Gym Partner's a Monkey, it's neat to see your takes on it and how it makes me think about the series. It's so strange. Half of it is super funny and surreal, and the other half is just mean-spirited and unpleasant. But it has a bizarre charm to it that drew me in as a kid. Anyway, love the podcast, and I can't wait for the next episode. Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say.
That's really
Makes
nice.
my heart all aflutter.
Like, funniest podcast. I mean, there's some funny guys out there who do podcasts. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really kind thing to say, and we're glad you listened to it. You know, we rag on the show a lot sometimes, but there are a lot of stuff that I actually really do enjoy about it, and it's kind of bizarre surrealness.
I'm certainly glad that My Gym Partner's a Monkey exists.
Me too.
As strange as that is to say, I appreciate it being part of our history.
I mean, if it wasn't, like, what would we be doing here? Like, where would we be? Like,
nowhere.
What would we be doing? Some different show? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to know.
Anyway, thank you so much for the
Want to
comment.
read this one, Renee?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me do this comment from Captain Scurvy's Blender, right? Ever since I started watching this podcast, I've been having several nightmares involving Jake Spider Monkey. Ooh. And after witnessing the episode with the poopy scene, I think they'll only get increasingly horrific. But apart from that, I love what you're doing, and I can't stop watching for some ungodly reason. I love that.
I'm so sorry about your nightmares.
Yeah, I'm sorry that our podcast has sort of led to that. Nightmares aren't good, and they're probably even worse when there's a cartoon monkey from the early 2000s that's very dangerous in them.
Oh, jeez. It definitely is a show that kind of, like, gets into your subconscious a bit. You don't know it's there for a bit, but then it creeps up on you in the weirdest of ways, and then you dream about monkey butts or something. It's scary, and it's funny, this common theme where people are like, I love your podcast. I can't stop watching for some eldritch reason, some eldritch compulsion. I don't know. It's fun.
That's what we're here too. We're also under that compulsion. It's like a train wreck. You can't look away.
I love whatever strange god guides us to our fate. I'm glad that we're all in this ride together.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on this trip, this train wreck of a ride to wherever this monkey show's headed.
All right, Gert, will you read the last comment?
I certainly will. This comment came in from Splatgat. I'm the person who drew the art at 59:19. That's a timestamp for our last episode. Thank you all for featuring my work, and I'm so happy you liked it. I love this podcast so much. I will say this, though. I'm honestly surprised no one, at least to my knowledge, has mentioned the Lucky Luciano I put in the background for laughs.
I didn't notice until I read this comment.
I
Hold on.
haven't seen it. Somebody, please, I want to see it.
Oh my god, there he is!
It's in the
I only saw this now.
by the orange tree.
Oh my god! He's so small!
I didn't know. I just was so distracted by the cute art.
Easter egg!
That's fun. Thank you.
I'm glad we could see this art in new light.
It just goes to show how wonderful this art is, though, because it was so nice that I couldn't even see this very funny meme that was put inside of it, so thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's certainly been a fulfilling day, I'd say. I feel like we really got to some breakthroughs with our feelings on the show, and like, I feel like we're back at it again. I'm feeling a bit warmer than usual.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta be honest. I can't see myself doing another show other than this. It's like, you know, we're like we say a lot about this show, but like, you know, for better or for worse, it's sunk its teeth into us, and we gotta sink our teeth back into it, just to like delve into like the mysteries and everything about this show. So I'm glad to do it with you guys.
Oh well, tune in 2 weeks from now. We'll be talking about the episodes Four-Eyed Jake and Human Behavior. I'm Lucy, everybody, and I'm here on My Gym Partners, a podcast.
And I'm Renee.
And I'm Gert. Please, everybody, wash your hands and stay safe.
Please stay safe. We love you so much. Bye-bye. Bye.